Hello, my name is Ryland Stunkle, and I'm pursuing a Master's of Science in Environmental Studies at Virginia Commonwealth University. Today I'll be presenting on how we model river flood heights in a system of riverine rock pools on the James River. Just south of the VCU campus is a system of riverine rock pools within the James River on Belle Isle. This map shows the dry rocks on the southern side of the island, where we have mapped the location of over 700 rock pools and given each a unique ID number. These pools form by scouring the river over long periods of time and provide habitat for aquatic macroinvertebrates, including several species of snails, amphipods, and flatworms, as well as organisms with complex life cycles like mosquitoes and dragonflies. Pools vary in their characteristics, including many environmental gradients, such as temperature, size, distance from the river channel, and allochthonous inputs. These properties, along with their ease of sampling and abundance, make them an ideal system for answering important ecological questions. Because we have mapped the coordinates of each pool in our system, we've taken advantage of Esri's Collector and Survey 123 mobile applications. These applications were developed with our collaborators at the University of Richmond and make it easy for us to locate and survey specific pools in the field. Data from these surveys are uploaded to our database, which houses a dataset we've curated since 2009. One environmental gradient we've been interested in quantifying is flooding frequency. Because pools form on the margins of the river, they are subject to flooding as water levels rise. For invertebrate communities, these flooding events could represent a disturbance, but also a colonization opportunity for riverine organisms. One challenge is presented by the uneven topography of the granite riverbed, causing pools to flood at different river heights. Therefore, we needed to estimate flood heights for each rock pool in our system. We tackled the problem by modeling flood heights using a combination of USGS river gauge data, drone images, and logistic regression. Because we could produce digital surface models of the study site, we originally took a more traditional approach. We attempted to create water surface elevations using the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers HEC-RAS software. However, we found that the fine scale of our data and the small geographic area of our study site made HEC-RAS not a viable option. We then decided to move forward with our statistical approach. In order to create the models, we first needed a reference point for the height of the river. We collected this data from the Westham gauge, which is upstream from our study site and maintained by the USGS. This gauge provides river heights at 15-minute intervals, and we calculated the maximum daily gauge height in feet. The second component of our models are aerial images of our study site. Members of our lab who have obtained their FAA drone license capture aerial images of the pools, which are combined into one orthomosaic. This process has been repeated for many different river heights across the river's natural range. We then import an orthomosaic corresponding to a specific river height into a GIS and overlay a shapefile containing our mapped rock pool points. Each pool is scored as either 1 for flooded or 0 for not flooded. This process is repeated for each new aerial image we obtain. Once we have the flood data for each pool across a range of river heights, we are able to model flooding for each individual pool. We do this by using logistic regression in the R programming language. Each point in this model represents a single drone flight for a given river height. We extract the coefficients from the model to calculate the river height at which a pool floods, which is the inflection point of the model, or where the probability of flooding equals 0.5. Because the data for many of the pools exhibit complete separation, leading to traditional logistic regression models to fail to converge, we used Firth's bias-reduced logistic regression via the logistf package in R. Modeling the data in R allowed us to automate this process and model the inundation height for over 700 pools. This figure gives the distribution of flood heights for pools on Belle Isle. We currently have models for 724 pools. Of the models we've created, the mean flood height is 6.98 feet, and 75% of the pools are inundated at a river height of 7.6 feet. We are continuing to improve the precision of these models by obtaining more aerial drone images. The models, along with corresponding upstream gauge data, allows us to calculate new metrics on our rock pools. For instance, we can now calculate the flooding frequency of each pool for a given time period to quantify the level of disturbance macroinvertebrate communities experience. We can also calculate the amount of time between a flooding event and sampling, informing us of how long a community has been able to form. These metrics can not only be calculated for future community samples, but also for existing samples in our dataset, because the USGS provides data for this gauge starting in 2008. I would like to thank our collaborators at U of R, ECU, and WCU, and a huge thanks to everyone in the Vonnish Lab.